Welcome, dear Crusaders, to Crusade with me. I'm so glad you decided to press play today, because we're diving deep into what it means to strive, not just outwardly, but inwardly. Not just in one area of our lives, but in all of them. Today's episode is titled Striving, Body, Mind, and Spirit. This is about alignment, wholeness, moving forward with intention and balance. It's about recognizing that our physical health, mental clarity, and spiritual vitality are not separate pursuits. They are one journey, one integrated path. And when we learn to strive well in one area, we often find unexpected blessings in the others. This episode is for anyone who's ever felt scattered, pulled in too many directions, or maybe just tired of trying. Don't worry, you're not alone. Today, we're going to breathe, reflect, and reignite that beautiful spark within you. So let's begin this journey together. Well, hello, my precious love. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I know. And you love that music.
I do. It's our trademark.
Is it? Okay.
I don't know if it is.
I don't have trademark. I don't know what, but I guess we could call it that. I wonder if anybody else hears the guy mowing the lawn next door. I hear it.
I can't.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying me, but that's what happens at 7:30 at night. I know the greatness that is.
He doesn't know.
And through a 6-inch wall, or whatever the thickness of the wall is.
Oh well.
Yep. Well, let's begin with simple truth. This is what I wanted. To strive well is not to grind yourself into the ground. All right. I want to be real clear about that. When I talk about striving, I've used that word a lot here lately in the last multitude of episodes. It is to align yourself with your purpose. And that's a struggle, I think, that most all of us in our lives have, is understanding our purpose.
I'd like to know what mine is.
Yeah, we'll get there. So, and I've said this how many times, I know, we're not machines. We were not created to perform mindlessly. Our effort is meant to be meaningful. And it begins with understanding that striving isn't about overexertion, that's what I'm really trying to say. It's about movement in the right direction. Mm-hmm. So when you strive with purpose in body, in mind, and in spirit, you begin to glow with a different kind of energy, a strength that doesn't wear out, a peace that doesn't fade. You know, it's been said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet, not in exhaustion, but in presence. Striving is a form of worship. When we care for our bodies, we honor the gift of life. When we discipline our minds, we sharpen our awareness. When we nurture our spirits, we draw closer to the divine. And look, anybody who knows me and has met me knows I certainly, well, I cleaned it up for my grandbabies. I was going to but anyway, I certainly am not the epitome of health, all right? Or when I'm not I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't have a great physique. I'm an average schmuck. I got a grandpa bod, which I was reminded of at the pool this last week in Key West.
You look marvelous.
Yeah, right.
You do. You really do.
Remember a guy by the name of John Conley?
No.
He was a country music singer. He says, rose-colored glasses that I'm looking through.
Hey, when you sing the song, yeah, I remember the song.
That was John Conley. You need to take off them glasses.
My glasses should be the only ones that you care about.
And they are.
Yeah.
And they are. So I just want to say, I want to be clear. Look, I'm not talking about I got this all figured out, and I have far fewer answers than I have questions, as you could probably tell from the other 69 episodes of this podcast. But striving in the body, it begins with the body, the vessel we've been given to walk this earth.
Right.
And I'm growing more accustomed to this and thinking about this, and it's changing my habits slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is sacred.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the shape or appearance. It's about the energy it carries, how well it functions, how aligned it is with the life you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
Striving in the body is moving daily with intention, not punishment. Resting when needed without guilt. I put an asterisk by that for me.
That's why we took today to be
Yes.
still.
Eating with gratitude and moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Honoring pain as a messenger, not an enemy. I can tell you, I have had over the years, this goes back to junior high, it goes back to high school. And we always attributed it, I would have these spells where I would pass out.
Yes, I'm aware.
And I know you're aware now, but that was a long time ago. And it was always attributed to heat exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Generally, it happened during two-a-day summer practices for football.
Mm-hmm.
And it would normally happen in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
And you think in the mornings, but you know how it is here and
Yeah.
humid in August and September.
Yeah.
Even early in the morning. And could never figure out why. And many years later, I was working for a steel maker on the south side of Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a shift supervisor, and I worked a double the day before. So I'd worked a day shift, and then I worked the afternoon shift. And then I drove home, which was almost an hour drive home, showered, slept, and went back to work the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
So a quick turnaround. And a vendor had brought in some donuts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I scarfed down a couple of donuts, and at that time I used to put copious amounts of sugar in my coffee with cream, and downed a couple more cups of coffee. And then I had to go up on the third tier of the 80-inch strip mill pickle line.
Mm-hmm.
And this mill is no longer functioning, by the way. It's no longer in business, but a big operation back in the day. And the third story so this had stairs. They didn't double back on each other. It was a straight shot. It was just a long staircase that had landings and then another level and then another level.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the very top, and my left foot hit the top of the platform, and that was the last thing I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Till I was on the ground, and I had a bunch of guys standing over me like, what's going on? Are you okay? And I had passed out. And I was laying on the ground, all cut up from bouncing down the steps, which were serrated grading for traction, which is great on work boots, but not on face and elbows and forearms and hands as you're tumbling. And so I was pretty cut up, but I was fine, other than the fact that I'd passed out. Of course,
Right.
work said, well, we can't have you come back till we understand what happened to you.
Right.
And so, and I had many tests previous to this.
Right. Well, we took you. Let me just stop. We took you to the ER also when I was pregnant
that's
with
right.
Andrew, because God looked out for us that day too, because had this happened in reverse and I was behind you, pregnant with our unborn
Right.
son, I probably would have lost him.
Correct.
But you
In
fell
a
down
one-bedroom
the-
apartment,
yeah,
or one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, you fell. You were at the top, but luckily I was in front of you, and you got to the top. And again, you tumbled down those stairs also.
Yeah.
And we took you, and again, all the tests came back fine.
Right,
I think
right,
they
right.
checked your heart or whatever.
Yes,
thinking
yes,
that,
yes,
or
yeah.
again blamed it on heat. But okay, you can pick
So-
that back up.
Now, my livelihood's depending on, hey, I got to find out. And we had just moved to a small town in a very rural area. And I went to this little country doctor. I would say country doctor. It's just, I think he's still in practice now.
I know
His son is. His son is, yes. And he's not an MD.
He's a DO.
He's a DO. Okay. And so I went in, told him, look, he says, are you all right? I'm like, I'm fine, other than the fact that they're not letting me come back to work. Till he said, so have you ever had a 5-hour glucose test? I said, a what? And he said, if you don't know what it is, you've never had it. I said, okay. He said, come back tomorrow morning. Don't eat breakfast. Don't eat anything before you come in. And we're going to draw blood. Then we're going to give you something to drink. And then we're going to draw blood every half hour for the next 5 hours.
Hour.
Right. Well,
Every-
it was a half hour the first hour, and then after that, it was going to be once an hour.
Every pregnant woman in America has had a 5-hour glucose test.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I've never been pregnant. I know, shocking in the 2025, a guy that hasn't been pregnant. Anyway, I digress. So, he took my blood, or the lady took my blood. Then he gave me this very nasty
Yep.
tumbler of what he said was like Pepsi or Coke, and it was not.
Yeah.
It was
thick.
syrupy.
It's
Yes,
syrupy.
it was.
Yep.
And I chugged that, and it wasn't terrible, but it certainly was sweet. And then he drew my blood again, and he said, well, you're spontaneous hypoglycemic. We can stop the test now. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. So then that's how I figured out I'm spontaneous hypoglycemic, which means I have issues with my blood. My blood sugar is fine in and of itself, day in and day out, until I fast. And it's even fine during fasting if you come out of your fast carefully, meaning watch what you eat. Don't consume sugar, something laden with sugar, because what happens is I would spike my sugar and my body goes into like, oh, we got to drive this down. And it does, but it doesn't stop.
Right.
So it just keeps going until, I start getting the sweats, and then I get lightheaded, and then the dizzies, and then the down the stairs. Anyway, so, a couple times.
Yeah. Or maybe you just shouldn't climb stairs. Stairs?
Well,
What's wrong with
we
us?
didn't have stairs in football, and it
Right.
wasn't.
Right, that's true.
But that's what it was I had no breakfast, and then exerting, and then
Energy. Right.
right, and then spike and then bam. So it took a long time. That took a decade to figure out.
Yeah.
But man, and this is like, I didn't need medication or anything. I just needed to be aware and understand the way my body is functioning.
Right.
What a blessing that is.
Yeah.
It's a little humbling to me. That, hey, pay attention, moron.
Yeah.
That's basically it. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say striving and body. Understand your body. And look, and this is the pot calling the kettle back. I'm saying don't abuse it. And I've smoked for almost 50 years, or right at 50, might be a little over. So I understand I'm not doing all I can do for my body.
Right.
But I can still. I have days that I put 21,000 steps in a day at work, right? And we can do the 13,000 step days.
Right.
Now, I have a lot of 7,000 and 8,000 step days too. And Sundays are normally less than 5. But I have also been mindful of my little routine of push-ups and steps and just being connected to our body, understanding our body, and then striving to improve my body, or at least maintain at this age,
Right.
my body. And that's my goal, and I would hope that would be the goal for everybody else. And I'll be honest, you start taking care of yourself a little bit, and that becomes a little contagious. You want to do better, and you want to do more. And I know that's the same for me.
And you take vitamins and
I do.
different supplements, and
Yes.
you like your apple cider vinegar and all that
Yes.
nasty stuff.
I think that so much of your health can be determined by the consistency and odor of your bowel movement. But anyway, I'm not a doctor, obviously. Just that's all. I just want the key is there is rhythm to our bodies.
Yeah.
I had to understand that, and I know and you are much better at this than I have ever been. You were in tune with your body, and I don't know if this is all women or if it's just you or.
Well, I think anybody with a chronic illness. Also, what I have, there's an aura that comes over me. I know what's about to happen before it happens, or
Right.
I have a window
Right.
that I know I need to get some meds in me to. It doesn't prevent it from happening, but it kind of lessens what's going to happen. And to me, that's a blessing.
No, it is, but
Absolutely.
I'm saying, guess what? If I got my head on my ass, or if I paid attention better to my body,
Right, there
I
are some
probably
clues.
have plenty
Yep.
of clues
Yep.
if I would just recognize them and not ignore them.
Right. And probably if you partake in the sugar, you need to eat some carbs with the sugar.
Yes,
And
yes.
that might curtail that also.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know about carbs, but I think it's protein.
Protein. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, the sugar
protein.
is the carbs. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I
No.
said that wrong.
So this is my point. Listen to your body, and that way you can restore your strength and health. You can, and I'm living proof of that. I'm not the poster child. I mean,
Right.
I'm nothing special here, but
I mean,
there's no glory in breakdown. That's all I'm saying.
right. But also recognize there's not everybody has something that can be fixed that easily.
Absolutely. No, you're right.
mean-
Oh, no, that's valid. That's very valid. But now you can get on that journey and start that pursuit. But and that's all I'm saying is the body speaks. If we listen, we can adjust before we collapse. Me specifically, right?
Right.
The key is rhythm. So a couple things, and we just talked about this last week. Daily walks. We're going to do more daily walks.
Yep.
Stretching, breathing, stillness. Just a little bit of stillness and
Right.
meditating and thinking about.
And not just what the benefit of just walking, but just what the walking does for
Us.
us together.
Yes.
Getting up early, getting that done, how your day's going to start, how that will, just get off on the right step.
Correct.
And then walking again in the evening, just kind of making the day last a little longer instead of being lumps on the couch and just going, oh, the day.
I know.
Oh, what a day.
You're always trying to get me to last longer.
What'd you say? I didn't hear that.
You're going to say it was inappropriate. I said, you're always trying to get me to last longer.
I'm sorry I made you repeat that. Anyways, I mean, obviously, when we're on vacation, we stayed up later,
Yes, we did.
and
But we still got up early.
yes, and we did take a siesta nap every day. I,
And I don't know where this falls in the body for health purposes, but I have become a huge fan of Cuban coffee.
yes,
I'm talking about black. I mean, they put some cream in it and then they frothed it.
yeah.
It's like a giant. Like a espresso grande.
Yeah.
If I was at Starbucks, and I don't even know.
Oh man. Yeah.
I don't speak
miss
Spanish.
that.
I got to ask the nurse, the Spanish-speaking nurse in our family.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to ask her because isn't she fluent in her own
According to
mind
her,
in
she's
Spanish?
Very fluent. I mean, I think it was her second major in college, but
Okay.
when I've asked her before what this word is in Spanish, she doesn't know. So I really question that degree. When my niece was graduated from college, she had her, what was that when she sang
The recital.
her recital
Yes.
from college? Yeah, it was beautiful, and she sang one song
In
in
Spanish.
Spanish. And I lean over and asked my sister-in-law, I'm like, what is she saying? She's like, shh, I can't tell you.
Well,
I mean, it was all written out.
she can't tell you
She didn't
during
know.
the recital. Oh,
No,
she didn't know?
Later. She's
I'll
like-
bet she
she's
knew.
like,
She
"I
just
don't
didn't
know."
want to demean you in front of the.
I'm sure that's what it
masses.
was. I'm sure.
I'm certain.
She couldn't tell us peasants what that was. That was only reserved for those who held a degree.
So look, when we are when we move with the flow of nature, the nature doesn't tire easily.
Right.
We get into the right rhythms and do that rightly. That's the way we were created. There's balance in this earth, right? God designed.
Right.
So when we treat our bodies with respect, we don't just feel better. We become clear vessels for love, peace, and purpose. Mm-hmm. And that's important. Purpose is important in life. Do you have anything to add about the body? Yo body, baby.
Oh, I don't know. I struggle with that. So,
I know.
I mean, sometimes
But-
I feel like my body is the master of me,
But-
and I try
but
to
look,
take the reins.
We just took a week and enjoyed a vacation.
I know.
And your body responded.
Yeah. That's just
Mighty fine, mighty fine.
stop it. I mean, I did a lot of worrying, and I worried for
And
nothing.
that helped. That helped.
No.
That was so we need to worry more, and that will put off what you're thinking. No, I'm only kidding.
I'm
That's
saying
not,
I worried needlessly, and
well,
I'm grateful.
let's talk about this striving in the mind because that's where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the mind, that wonderful, wild instrument we use
Just need to know where I left
to
mine.
interpret the world. Your thoughts shape your world. Remember that. I want to say that. I want everybody to listen and hear this. This is truth. Your thoughts shape your world.
Mm-hmm.
But how often do we let our thoughts run unchecked? Like wild horses without reins. Striving in the mind is becoming aware of the voice in your head, replacing fear with truth. Training focus like it's a muscle. And protecting peace like it's a treasure. We just did this, but for a lot of people who were not on vacation just recently, when was the last time you sat in silence and just observed your thoughts without judgment? That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot in one sentence that I just said.
Yeah.
Sitting in silence, observing your thoughts without judgment.
It's easy to do when you're just staring up, looking at palm trees in the
Yes.
heavenly skies.
Yes.
You have no judgment.
Correct.
But it's
Absolutely
hard
right.
to do when you're sitting in the real world, or it's not easy to do when you're sitting in the real world. But see, that's why I have you. Because when I'm not in the right headspace, you call me out.
Well, we call each other out. We don't call each other out. We support each other. You help me, I help you.
That's a nice way of saying it, but
We do. We do.
I feel sometimes it's experience, your life experience also help forms a change of the mind. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
Like,
Yes, you can talk exactly about this. I know where
Yes.
you're going now.
so you know how like sometimes you get frustrated with older people, and I don't mean like old like us. I mean like older than us.
Well, that's a sliding relative scale there, but go
I
ahead.
know. So because
Okay. I don't mean to interrupt you.
yeah,
No, you go. No, I have to interrupt you. I have to say this just to put this in perspective. You know that I marked my 60th birthday last Monday,
yes,
and that was one of the main impetuses of this podcast, right?
Yes.
What started this.
yes.
And now it's stopped, or now it's over. And I'm like, well, do we end the podcast? Do we keep going? What do we do? Anyway, so we said, well, we'll keep going for the rest of this year anyway. We'll see how things go.
Mm-hmm.
And in Key West, and I've always been a fan of Hemingway anyway. And then I bought this little book. I mean, I read it in a night and on the airplane.
Yeah.
Right? And I read it. And I'm not a fast reader, but books like that, I am. The other books,
If
I
they're
got to read
meaty,
slower.
yeah.
Yeah, I got to read much slower. But anyway, and I fell in love with the guy even more. I mean, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Experience-wise and wise. And they're talking about this old man. And, he's living in Cuba and blah, 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 blah. And he's 59 years old.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've seen pictures of him at 59. He had white hair with a white beard. He said he shaved at Christmas so as not to confuse people and get called Santa Claus. Okay. Yeah.
Huh. I could see why you're wanted
Perspective.
It. Yeah.
Yeah. Perspective. It's a sliding scale.
Yeah.
And I also had read for something, and I agree with this, and whether it's true or not, I think it might be mental masturbation, not mental masturbation, what do I call it? There's another name to call it.
Mental gymnastics.
Mental gymnastics. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I read that 60 is the new 40. Well, who said that? Some clown who just turned 60, probably. And it wasn't me.
Yeah. It used to go by tens. What? Now they're
Yeah,
jumping by
I know.
20s?
I know. Yeah, that's
Wow.
silly. Well, I think that's somebody who's freaked out about the 60, the age itself, which
Yeah.
doesn't, I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
But I will.
Can
I
go?
will say this before you finish your point about the mindset. For me, this is something that turning 60 has done. It has helped me to focus. And when I say focus, and we haven't even had this conversation because we've not been back from our vacation long, and we haven't had much time alone since we've returned.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to have a conversation about some focus that I acquired in my departure or in our time away. That is not for the podcast; it's just for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have started with our grandson, number one grandson, with his statistics. It was like, oh, Papa, you got 15 years left or whatever.
Right.
That helps me focus to say, well, I don't like to argue statistics because I am a statistics kind of guy. So that makes things, it clarifies a lot of things in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about striving. So you and I are going to have some private striving conversations.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, almost mapping out the next at least 5 to 10 years. But anyway.
15 to 20.
Well, I'm assuming in 10 years I'll still have the mental facility and capacity to plan the next 5. But
Yeah. Right. Okay, so
yeah,
anyways,
I'm sorry.
my
Go back
point
to your
was,
point about elderly, like, the 70-year-olds, 10 year older than I am.
So how experience changes your mindset sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
How, older people used to kind of frustrate me. Their slowness, or
Mm-hmm.
they'd be in the way, or you kind of get frustrated when you got stuck behind them.
Oh, yeah.
Or but I find myself, because now I've raised 2 parents. I say jokingly because
Right.
we did for a time have both my parents living with us, and my dad had Alzheimer's, and now he's passed, and now I have my 78-year-old mother with us, and yeah, and that's all I'll say about that. She's had cancer and had a stroke.
Right.
So there's challenges, but now this past week, and I see these older couples and some of them with their friends, obviously, and I think, oh, it's so wonderful to see them out
Yes.
enjoying life.
Yes.
And what a blessing it is that they have that. It's a privilege. It's a blessing. It's wonderful to see that. And I thought, just because I guess my own experiences
Correct.
and how your parents didn't really ever get to do
No,
that either because of your
exactly.
mom's health and your dad's health, and they didn't get to travel like
Correct.
that.
Correct.
And I just think, again,
What a
that
gift. What a
shaped
blessing.
my mindset, and I just think,
So then we could be gracious and allow them the
Patient.
space
yep, be patient.
to not push them or bustle around them.
No.
Yes.
And be bristled by
Correct.
the
No.
slowness, or maybe the little inconvenience because they're monopolizing a corner and not
Correct.
moving. And
Right.
so there is a little bit of situational
You're
acceptance
exactly right.
to it.
Exactly
That's
right.
all.
No, yeah, I agree. And and I think that comes with experience, as you said, and maturity. And when I say maturity, I mean you getting older.
Yeah.
Sorry to say,
absolutely.
but I hate
no.
to say that. I don't know how else to put it, but
No, it is.
yeah.
Well, because I've had to go through what I've gone through with my parents and your parents,
Yes,
and
yes.
it makes you appreciate. Unfortunately, it takes loss, not just physical loss, but loss of their capabilities,
Capacities.
their minds.
Capacities.
Yeah, it's just
I want to switch gears.
Yeah,
to come
let's
to
get
this.
off the sadness here.
It's not sadness. It's just
Well,
it's
it
just
kinda is.
understanding, and let's focus on where we're at. And let's what no, it's not sadness. I want this to be about striving, and that's striving. You've grown in your mindset and understanding of how to interact in this world.
Yeah. I just meant the sadness talking about people that are gone. That's all.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I'm not weepy or anything. I just
Gone,
meant-
but not forgotten. Oh, I know. You went down a path with me while we were on vacation. I don't know if it was the pot, and I don't mean you smoked pot. I just mean, remember that evening we walked back, and I don't know who hadn't smoked pot as we walked past, but it was pungent the entire 1 mile walk back to the hotel. So I think there was a contact high there somewhere.
Yeah. When did I get weepy?
About me dying and you being alone and you're not going to remarry. And I'm like, remarry for better sex and a bigger bank account. I don't know.
Stop it.
All right, let's talk about spirit. And honestly, this is the deepest part of us, is our spirits.
Yeah.
And the flame that cannot be seen but can always be felt is the spirit.
Yeah.
To strive in the spirit is not to do more, but to be more aware, which is exactly what you were just talking about.
Right.
Your spirit thrives when you recognize the divine in ordinary moments. Your spirit thrives when you pray not just with words, but with actions. Your spirit thrives when you forgive quickly. And your spirit thrives when you live as though your life matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does. Be still and know. Not just a verse, but it's an invitation. But that's striving. I found a book I want to buy, and I'm going to see if I can get it on my Kindle because we're running out of space. And books are so dang easy to buy on that Kindle, and it's just almost
I know.
maddening
It's
bankruptcy.
linked to my Amazon.
I love it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, I don't have any, I'm not plugging them because I get anything out of it, believe me. So Jeff Bezos, if you hear me, no, I'm only kidding. Yeah. Would you like a Kindle? I think I'm going to buy
This
you one.
conversation off air.
Huh?
I said we can have this conversation later.
Okay. But this book was about the future Christian unity. Okay? And the author of this book was stating that with the growth of Christianity in the East, meaning China specifically, because the Christianity in China has grown
Yes.
like 300% in 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked to also find that Christian growth has been the same, like 300% in South America. Because I thought all South America was Catholic, but anyway, Christian.
Yeah.
And it was also claiming, his report also claimed that most of the younger, newer Christians were joining Christian churches, and I use the word Christian churches as he does, meaning anything that recognizes the triune God. All right.
Right.
So I'm not saying Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant. I'm saying all three combined.
Right.
The Christian church. But the growth, the largest, are the most conservative, meaning the Orthodox, Catholic.
I can see that.
Those are the ones growing the fastest in all of these places. Not so much the feel good, hear me out.
The mega churches.
Right.
I think people are seeing through all that anymore.
Right. The shallowness of the
People
reality.
want reverence. Well, that's God's hand. That is
I know it is.
absolutely
I know it
God's
is.
hand.
So you can understand why I was intrigued and I want to buy the book. I didn't want to buy the book down there because it was hardback and I was
Out of room.
I was approaching getting out of room, and it was a rather large book. So
Yeah.
But I took a picture of it, and I will look it up on my.
I know you sent it to me.
Oh, I did that by mistake. Well, those little thumbnails are hard to see sometimes. But that.
I'm happy to hear that. I really am. That one.
What's that?
It gives me hope in a world that just seems
Yeah.
like it's spinning out
Yeah.
of control to the
But that's-
spiritual warfare that we've that
Yeah.
started all this.
Yeah. But again, it's our experiences, and we're not seeing we're not seeing what he's writing about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only he is seeing that through studies and so forth. And that is refreshing. And I wish, this is what I truly wish. I wish that all Christians could unite on the stuff that they agree upon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The stuff that they disagree upon, how serious is it? And I want to be clear. I get it. And I will say, because I think I've said it on this podcast previously, when you start talking about the Eucharist or the sacrament of the altar and the true presence, which is something that we absolutely believe,
Mm-hmm.
that's a struggle to say, okay, the people that don't believe it, are they, But I think we have to. I think we have to say we're Christians.
Mm-hmm.
If you're screwing up the sacrament of the altar, I don't know what to tell you, but does that mean God damns you?
No.
I mean, seriously. If you were baptized by sprinkling versus immersion, are you damned?
Is this rhetorical? Or you want my opinion? Or what are you asking me?
I'm not wanting you to answer
Yeah.
specifically. No, I don't want
I
you
just
to.
know we have talked about this before, about having the right heart with the wrong ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to those things.
Mm-hmm. So growing in the Spirit makes me think of, and I hate using the same stories over and over, but I can't help. Striving in the Spirit is the story of the burning bush.
Mm-hmm.
And we know the story of the burning bush, right? Moses goes he's already got his Midian wife, and he goes to the far side of the mount and taking the sheep. And up in that mountain, you find a bush that's on fire. But it ain't going out.
Mm-hmm.
The bush is not consumed, just the flames and the fire.
I heard a pastor preach a sermon one time. It's called "In the Bush It Still Burns."
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And here I am still telling that story. But,
That's probably 30 years ago.
yeah. But we have those spiritual moments, just like Moses. You recognizing a group of older couples on a sidewalk in Key West, I purport to you as a burning bush moment.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying when I see the male iguana chase the female iguana up the palm tree, that was a burning bush moment for me.
And she ran
Yeah, did she? She jumped.
away, not towards.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
You know, the bro code runs deep.
Yeah. She's like, not today.
No, but to see, as we were talking about with the, while we were on vacation, and I thought it was interesting. We did have a conversation with the gentleman that was trimming the trees.
The palm trees, yes.
Well, we thought they were all palm trees. Some of them were coconut, right? Because people were going up asking him, could they have it? Because he was trimming the trees, taking the dead limbs, cutting them off,
Right.
so that, and coconuts would obviously fall with the limbs.
Mm-hmm.
And people were asking, could they have them? And he would take a machete and cut them open for them and give them to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked to him, just letting him know that, hey, look, we had appreciated, we had enjoyed watching him.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so respectful the way they did it that we were at the pool the whole time. They're trimming these trees all around the pool and never disrupted anybody. I mean,
Right. He was very good at his craft.
Yes, and it is a craft.
He did it with precision, and he knew where they were going to fall, how they were going to fall, and he just, very good. So we wanted to tell him.
But I'm not what do they call people that study trees? An arborist? Is that what they call arborist or horticulturalist? I'm not sure. One of them. I don't know. I think it's arborist. Not all of those were coconut palm trees.
Right.
Some of them were date trees.
Right.
Which look exactly like a palm tree, like a coconut. And he was talking about, and he hates those.
Yes, because they're sticky.
And the mess they make when he trims those. And I just found that interesting. And it just made me think about how many times in Scripture have we read about eating dates?
Mm-hmm.
That was certainly part of the Daniel diet, dates. And I've come to where I really enjoy dates, right? The dried ones that you get.
And we had them on Monday, Thursday for our meal.
Yes, a Seder meal. So, but that was just a moment. It was a little bit of a burning bush moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Standing here talking to him in paradise, for lack of a better term. It's paradise down there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a burning bush moment for me, him talking about some of these trees are date trees, and I'm looking up at these trees. And then as he says that, I could recognize, I see how that cannot be a coconut, but it's going to be something else.
Right.
Didn't realize it till he said it. And then my mind went to thinking about dates. And, like I said, Daniel ate dates. I mean, it's a very ancient food that those type of moments those impact me.
Well, it just also goes to show that you can make that connectiveness when you're looking for it. I mean, I know I'm not making any sense now, but if you're not looking to make the connection, you won't. But if you're looking for those moments, I feel like God gives you those little drops of something just for you to pick up those little clues, those little gifts, something to say,
The burning bush, the story of the burning bush. The bush was burning, right? Had to get his attention.
Well, he's
He
not going
turned.
to.
He turned and said, "Oh, I better pay attention to this
Right,
because this is
right.
a bush that's not."
Right,
And God recognized that. He recognized,
right,
and that's for all of us.
right.
We all need to look for our burning bush moments.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say.
I understand that, but obviously we're not getting burning bushes. But
It's the moments. It's those type
moments.
of things.
We just
Yes.
have to look a little harder.
Focus, right, and that comes from our mindset.
Right.
And what are we looking for? Keep in mind what I kept saying. You are what you think. Your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You can look for reasons to be pissed off in this world, and guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You will be pissed off 27 hours a day, right? Well, there will be reasons. Or you can decide in your mind to feed your spirit and to strive in your spirit that you want to focus and look for the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll find it. And those are the burning bush moments.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was talking about. So as I've said numerous times, striving isn't about perfection, it's about harmony. When your body is well, your mind is stronger. When your mind is calm, your spirit can rise. When your spirit is aligned, your life becomes a song, not of chaos, but of deep, true purpose. So take care of your body. Be intentional with your thoughts. And remain rooted in the sacred. You don't need to strive like the world tells you with hustle and noise and comparison. You're invited to strive like a river carves a canyon. Persistently, patiently, peacefully. So, we're going to have some tips. Do you have any tips? I got some tips. You know me and my 3.
Me and my 3.
Practical practice, daily striving rituals. How do you like that? You can start this today. The daily 3-minute practice. 1 minute of movement. Stretch, walk, or breathe deeply for 1 minute. 1 minute of focus. Repeat a life-giving truth in your mind for 1 minute. And 1 minute of stillness. Sit quietly and listen. Do this every day. Watch your strength grow, not from effort alone, but from alignment. My beloved, do you have any closing thoughts?
I do, but I don't know if it's going to make any sense to anyone else, but it's just what came into my mind as I'm sitting here thinking about all this. And sometimes it's just a struggle to be spiritual in a human world.
Of course it is. Oh, absolutely.
And I am just brought back to it. I know it just came out of the season of the Easter season with Lent. And I just brought back to Jesus in the garden in Gethsemane and praying, the human side of, he knew what he had to do, the spiritual thing he had to do.
Right.
But the human side of him prayed, if it be your will, let this cup pass from me.
Right.
And you see that confliction of the spiritual, the human and the spiritual. And I think, well, if my Lord and Savior
yes
battled with it, why am I any different?
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why you think that is because now you're going to get me on those.
I know.
And
That's
I
why I
hate to
feel
go
like this
there.
is almost a totally different tangent, but it's what
No, no, no,
I'm
no, no, no,
struggling
no, no,
with.
no, 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 no. You're absolutely right. But this is when I was talking about, my hope and prayer for one united Christian church.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of segments of the Christian church, universal, and there is a broad breadth of them. They advertise, they market. They're perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They're the only ones going to heaven. You got to be good. You got to be perfect to come here or to be accepted, which is complete bullshit because that's not what Christ calls.
Right. I don't buy into any of that. You know,
I know
buy
you
into
don't,
any
but
of
I
that.
want the listeners to understand
Right.
that we don't, and we're not, and we're just saying that. Look, spirituality in our humanness is real.
It is.
We actually have the spirit within us that is God designed. It is in us. We have God's DNA in us. There are strands of DNA they call the God DNA, which they can't figure out, shockingly. Right? That's what we have to be still and think about and listen. All of us yappers, including myself, please don't just take what McKee's saying because I could be full of shit too, for all you know. Check it out, though.
It's just about, I think what my own answer to my own question is it's about surrender.
Yes. And it's about, guess what? It's striving. It's the step by step, a little bit every day.
Yeah. It's about picking them up and putting
them
down.
Yes. And accepting forgiveness.
Yeah.
We know we have been forgiven. We sure don't act like it.
No.
And we sure don't treat people like it, do we?
Right.
Shame on us. When I say us, I'm talking about humanity. I'm not talking about
me.
I'm not talking about you. But humanity themselves, we aren't real good forgivers.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be real clear, too, because that can be weaponized against Christians.
Right.
A Christian can forgive does not mean they have to forget.
Right.
We've had episodes about that, right?
Right.
But that's what I want everybody. So I think it's a beautiful question and it's a beautiful thought that you had. It's absolutely right on that because I'm sitting here talking about spiritual striving doesn't mean, oh, we got it all figured out. No, you freaking step off the path every day.
Mm-hmm.
We stumble, we fall. Hell, we're off the path I've been off the path, I'm probably off the path as much as I'm on it. I hope. I hope. But I don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? Don't stop. Keep striving. Get back on it. Get closer to it. That's strive.
Yeah.
Because guess what? There won't be. Newsflash. There's no such thing as Christian of the Year award.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Real clear.
Right.
No such thing.
Yeah.
If you go to a church that does that, you may want to reconsider where you're going.
Right.
All right. So, Crusaders, how are you striving? Not for appearance, not for applause, but for wholeness. Check in today. What does your body need? What is your mind saying too much of? And what is your spirit aching for? Let this be the week you realign. Let this be the day you strive with joy. Let this be the moment you remember. You were made for fullness. You were made for balance. You were made to glow. Let's pray. Creator of balance and breath, teach us to strive rightly, to work without breaking, to rest without guilt, to love without fear, and to live with joyful purpose. Unite our body, mind, and spirit, that we may walk as whole people and shine for others who are searching. In Jesus' name we pray, who lives and reigns with you in the one Spirit, now and forever. Amen. If this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who's trying, someone who's tired, someone who's ready to become who they were created to be. Keep striving, not with stress, but with strength. Not with frenzy, but with focus. Not alone, but together. We're not just surviving, you're crusading, body, mind, and spirit. Until next time, this is Crusade with me. Let's walk this path fully alive.